Hey YouTube. This is November 13th, and I'm doing a review of this awesome little tool, the Omnifixo. You've probably already heard of it if you found this video. If this is your first time hearing about it, uh, I guess that happens. Everyone finds out about something for the first time at some point. So there's a lot of different takes on these, third-hand grabbers. Um, the previous one I used was a previous recommendation by Adam Savage. That's what he uses. And it's this setup, it's worked okay for me. And I took a bit of shrink wrap or a silicone tube and put it on there to act as a non-marring surface. But I wanted the Omnifixo after looking it up, seeing reviews on it. The parallel grabbing action is really nice for making sure you don't mar the item you're working on. And just the versatility of this. I have a separate video that I'm going to add on to the end of this one from when I used this for the first time. And I ended up needing to use it like a day or two after it arrived, and it was super handy because since these are on magnets, you can stick them anywhere that's ferrous, anywhere that, is steel. And I did exactly that. I needed to solder something at an awkward position from an LED strip that I already had installed, and this made it happen. Oh, hey, Foos. Did I have stuff on your bed? I'm sorry. Here you go. There you go. It's yeah. It's one of our cats right there, Floof. Who's a good boy. Who's a very, very pretty, naughty boy. There you go. Don't chew on my oscilloscope. Here. Or not. Whatever. You're a cat. You'll do what you want. Okay. Short cat O-Vision break is over. Back to the Omnifixo. So, it's super tiny. It comes in this tiny little thing. It's very small. One of the reasons I got a couple of them is I'm going to put one in my field soldering kit because it fits right into it. But it's like, 6.5 inches by less than 4 by like less than half an inch. And they keep improving and iterating on the design. Well, some things are more change than improvement. Like I've seen previous versions of this where the let's see. So you see how that doesn't quite stay parallel. You see how it's bending a little off 180 from the pressure. They had a previous version where the bushing was thicker, but I believe they changed it to increase, well, it's either a cost-saving measure or it's to increase how far the jaws will open. I'm not really sure. But I've seen previous versions, like I think the 4.2 was one I saw in a video, where that brass bushing was thicker. And I think that was an overall better compromise for the design. It still works really well, though. So one of the ads that they have is this ABS plastic little case. And basically you have that. And all 4 of those just slip into there. And you have these little plastic tabs that retain this unless it slides out. And then when you have this on there, the magnets hold everything in place. And it's nicely multifunctional because it's not just a storage case. You can use it for vertical orientation. You can do that here or there. Not there. I'm not sure what that is for. Maybe it's for a different version. And in the middle. So that adds a fair bit of versatility. I like that. It doesn't add too much in the way of thickness, and it gives you a nice little vertical orientation option for like short or tall. So it has a conductivity option. If you have it oriented like this, the plastic makes contact with the surface there, and it won't conduct. But if you flip it around, then the metal makes contact. And of course, this being ball-shaped, you're still touching the middle in there. So you have this non-powder coated circle. You can connect it there. And that gives you continuity. So you can establish circuits. So you take off these little silicone tabs. Let's go to resistance or diode. Yeah, there we go. And so you can use it to complete a circuit. If you're like testing to make sure, hey, is this connected the way I want while you're soldering? Or just before soldering, would probably be more apt. And then having 4 of these grabbers is pretty nice too. I actually used all 4 of them up there. You'll see that in the following video, where I had these 2 holding the item that I was soldering together. One end was the LED strip that I pulled a little bit out of, and the other was the wiring that I was soldering in place so I could put a JST connector on it. And then these other 2 I was using to hold my fume extractor in place. Now I was doing that like this wouldn't have been strong enough to like hold all of this in the air. So I was also using this Adam Savage inspired camera holder to kind of wrap around it like a tentacle, and that held most of the weight. And then these held the opening in the end close to my working area, which was up there. I just had like this section taken out, and I had this section moved sideways. I was magneting onto the side of my Kikasui electronic loads as my working surface for soldering. Sorry for the noise every time I move that. But yeah, it's a really clever little design. Probably the best soldering third hand that I've seen as a design as of yet. It is pricey. I think these were $61 a piece, plus a little bit for shipping. Shipping was completely reasonable. But yeah, they're not manufacturing at scale, so to speak. They're not like making 100,000 of these per batch. So they only have so much savings they can get for small economies of scale instead of large economies of scale. And as a result, if they want to make profit, it is still fairly pricey. It's been on my to-buy list for over a year, and I finally decided to pull the trigger on it. So I guess I do think it's worth the money, even though I wish it was less expensive. I'd love to see this at like the $35-40 price point, but um, yeah, I just don't know if they can get there unless they had enough of a customer base that they could make much larger batches, which is always the issue with small scale production. But yeah, really, really nice. One's going to live on my bench, the other's going to go into my field soldering kit, and there you go. The Omnifixo, this is the M4.4. Hey YouTube. Uh, I'm probably going to add this as an addendum to the video I was planning on making, which is just a unboxing and a review of the Omnifixo. I bought a couple of them. One for my bench and one for the soldering kit in my bag. And so often I have these moments of serendipity where things just work out really well. And I have these LED strips as part of my bench wiring. And let's see. Yeah, so we can turn that off. It's like my underbench lighting. I've fixed that. The side lighting, I haven't messed with that yet. I figured I'd, fix it as they fail. But I have these little clip connectors, which basically just bite in to the little pads there with a couple needles, and they clamp in place. They're terrible. They're terrible for electrical connections. They end up overheating and failing. I've replaced, like I said, I replaced the one for the underneath. And for this one, this is attached by adhesive up there, so it's kind of difficult to take too much of it out, especially for the upper bench. There's no way I'm getting it down here to a working area. But because I have these, the Omnifixo hands, I'm good. Where's the others? Hopefully I haven't already lost them. Oh, right, I'm using them all. You can see how I'm using these to grab on to the end of the hose for my air filter, which I've stretched out much further than it's normally meant to reach, so that I can have this in place and have these clamped together. Then I'm using my camera rig. That's usually what I use to hold this in place, as just a little wraparound holder to support most of the weight, and then that's holding the end to the location I need it. And then I can, solder those connections and then heat up that shrink wrap. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave this as an addendum to when I do a proper unboxing review. But it arrived yesterday morning or the night before, or something like that, and already it's extremely useful, especially given the magnets that I can just turn a couple of electronic loads sideways and use those as my working surface on a vertical surface to solder on. Excellent stuff.